If you smell what the insider is cooking. Episode 7, boys. You have any idea who you're talking to here? You guys have any idea who you're talking to right now? Not just an Emmy Award winner this week. No, it goes a little further than that. Yeah, I went ahead and broke the Jack Eichel trade today, boys. No big deal. First day on the job. First day on the job, broke the biggest trade of the decade. As of right now, until McDavid gets traded. Thanks for joining us, Gio.
Thanks for having me on. I feel very special to be in your presence today.
Well, you said that
early, and Adam, you're up early, and Adam, and
you said that in the text message today. And you guys being the leaders that you are, and the guys that are always the heart and soul of the team. I really appreciate that recognition coming from you guys. It means a ton. That validation from you, Gio, means absolutely nothing to me.
I'm trying to help you out.
Thanks for being here. Hey, River.
Are you done? Are you done there, Petey?
It's funny you
done there,
ask.
Insider?
Hey,
let me tell you something. Have you ever seen?
Am I done? Riv, my reel open that was supposed to happen an hour ago. That just came to me, this part, because what just happened for an hour, Gio?
Technical difficulties on 6 of Craig's computers today.
Especially the brand new gold one. Guy buys the gold MacBook, ladies and gentlemen, the gold one. He can't seem to get it working. But yes, we are done, Craig. Why do you ask? Something bothering you?
Think of.
You're on mute.
I want you to think of this.
Uh-oh.
I want you to think of it.
You shut off your mic. This is what we're dealing with, people. Just a total amateur. You've only been – look how red his face is, Gio. He's so embarrassed right now.
I am not embarrassed because it's not me. This is the technology that I'm dealing with.
It happened again.
It just went again. I'm going to drop off a new mic to your house later on.
Well, that's the thing, Gio. So this is the best part about it, is you and I have this basic blue Yeti, and Rivs has the most expensive mic on the block. He can't even get it to work.
And a new computer that he can't get to work.
I am not cutting that last part out, even though we had to take a little quick break there because Craig's terrible with technology. Listen, enough for the people that are tuning in, because there might be more today than ever. Because I did. I broke the story. I broke the trade. And more importantly, what do you guys think of the deal? It's a new era in Buffalo. Jack's finally gone. And it's something we've been waiting for a while. I didn't know who it was going to be, but thoughts on the deal?
I think the first thing that we should do is recognize your excellence for breaking this trade, which I woke up this morning and I didn't even know anything. I knew, listen, I mean, you text me this morning, said that Eichel had been traded, lots to talk about today. And you said, by the way, just a little humble brag that I am the one who broke the trade. And my original thought was,
that's not the text at all.
That's not the text?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You read the text. You read your claim to fame.
No,
right
go
now.
ahead. No, keep going. I will later, but go ahead. Keep going with what you're saying. So you woke up, you found out. I was enjoying this. You were about to pump my tires.
And that doesn't happen very often, but
No,
listen, I mean, you have some contacts that confirmed this trade and sent you a nice message at about 1:40 in the morning. And you woke up this morning to that text, and you were the first one to kind of send it out. So congratulations to you, Insider.
Well, thank you.
It's
Welcome,
just
Gio.
nice to be in your presence. It is. All the info that's coming out of you. Same thing. I woke up, took the kids to school and saw it on yours. And then I had to sift through my feed to see if there was anyone else who had done it before. And there wasn't. No one else had it but Petey.
I got to tell you, I couldn't imagine what trade deadline day is like for these guys. I mean, like Riv, how many days in a row have I been texting you that it's Vegas? How many days?
You've said that quite a bit. I mean, for the last week, you've been solely on Vegas. You obviously you have some people that you're dealing with that have given you some inside information, and that information came true in one of the biggest trades and most anticipated trades in a very long time.
Well, what I thought was amazing, and I don't like to connect dots, but learning how the business works. I just thought it was amazing that the other night I tweeted, I think it's Vegas or grievance. And then Emily Kaplan goes on ESPN and talks about how Calgary's involved. And then Kevin Weeks throws out an absolute monster of a tweet last night talking about Tkachuk and first round picks with Calgary. And I'm just like, I knew it wasn't real. And the Vegas thing was so close that, it was just a matter of time. And I just think learning how the business works. I think that someone sent Kevin Weeks a shitty message, and because he's a big name and he's got a big following.
Completely bogus
tip.
What did you say it was? You called it a smokescreen.
Yes,
you said it multiple times. You said last night, you're like, there is absolutely no way in a million years that trade was offered by Calgary. This is a smokescreen. Someone sent out inside information,
like
a little
Gio,
bit of a message.
That Kevin Weeks deal, even if you're asked to retain salary on Jack, you're taking it.
Yeah, I mean, like, you like that trade-off. And I think it's been said that, that would have been moved on right away if that were to have been on the table.
Well, Kevin Adams confirmed it today, and I know I'm dating the podcast, but just to what you're saying, he confirmed it today that was false. The Tkachuk name was false, and it was an unfortunate scoop.
Yeah, and I love Kevin too, right? Weeks. It's tough for him, like you said. He's got a huge following, and so I'm not in it yet, right? Like you are or whatnot. So I don't have that business side of it, seeing the other side of it, but that's unfortunate for him. And because he knows a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's
and that's
amazing. And the funny thing is Kevin Adams this morning in his presser confirmed that it was bogus information. There was nothing there.
Let me flip it a little bit. Do you think maybe there was some credibility to it? Those names were tossed out, and that you don't want to. So Kevin comes out and denies it because he doesn't want there to be a comparison deal later on to be there. Is it that he doesn't want people saying he should have done a different deal?
Or is it
likes this deal better, or that he believes in this deal better? Is there something there that maybe it's doing that, like taking some pressure off of himself and saying, listen, this was the best deal, instead of people saying, why would you pass on Tkachuk? Maybe I don't know. I'm completely throwing it out there.
Or they're burying Kevin Weeks, because Calgary doesn't want Tkachuk to know that his name was out there. Right? Like, who knows? Like, who knows? Kevin Weeks could be the scapegoat here.
Face. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you can look at it that way, Gio, and I completely understand where you're coming from. At the same time, you can also look at it that Kevin Weeks was given information, an insider scoop, and he put that out there thinking that he was breaking something extremely interesting, and there's a lot of legs to it. But
I definitely think he trusted who told him.
I feel like Kevin Weeks was given bad information to basically use him to build, because I believe that the Vegas Golden Knights and the Buffalo Sabres had a deal done. It was right there at the finish line. And it just so happens that once the deal was almost done, and one party chose to step away from that deal. Okay? And later on that night, there's a tweet that comes out from Kevin Weeks that Calgary is offering Matthew Tkachuk, first round here, high prospect there. And you're looking at the deal going, what? Really? Well, who was this for? Was it for Calgary and all the people that were watching the Jack Eichel sweepstakes, or it was for the team that was first negotiating and trying to push them over the edge? That's what I feel happened.
Yeah. I mean, both are very realistic opportunity,
but it's realistic too that Calgary was right in it, and now they're damage controlling with their one of their top guys and a guy that could be their franchise guy moving forward for a while too.
He has been on damage control for a while because he's not happy there. So it doesn't matter if he is in that situation that his name gets out in a trade, because he's already unhappy. Tkachuk wants out of there.
So let's make this about the actual trade itself. Eichel wanted out of here. Sabres wanted Eichel out of here. I'm not convinced that Tuch and Krebs wanted out of Vegas, but they are the pieces in the deal. What do you think of the deal, guys? They are the key pieces in the deal, along with a first-round pick and a second or a third?
Yeah. I mean, those deals are the picks are still, those will be a few years out till you understand the true impact of the trade. But I think it checks a lot of boxes for, I guess for both teams for that matter, but clearly what Buffalo was trying to do and what Kevin had said in his press conference over and over again is players that wanted to be here, players that want to be a part of the Sabres. He talked about that's why they moved on from Risto, Sam, Jack, guys that want to be here. And so I think it's great just in that manner that you've removed those distractions that or those players for that matter in the conversation of trying to change the direction of this team and having players that want to be here. So Tuch is huge, flies, really good player, and Krebs is a very promising young guy that clearly they're going to take slowly and be patient with.
Riv, I can't believe they were able to move Jack without the surgery.
It's head scratching when you have a player that, listen, I mean, when Jack Eichel is healthy, he is the best player in this deal without question. He is a top 10, top 15 player in the world when healthy. But he has a neck issue. He needs surgery to be able to play this game again. And we don't know, if he can have the surgery and he comes back and he plays a year, maybe 2 years, but that neck starts to bother him. And you just don't know what's going to happen with the longevity of Jack's neck, even if he is healthy and he does have the surgery. We just don't know how long and how that's going to react. But I mean,
imagine he comes back and imagine he just shows up in Vegas and starts playing, doesn't even need the surgery. Could you imagine? That would definitely be a very, just thing that I would expect to happen after all this shit that's gone on since back in May when in his press conference. It's incredible. I don't know when he plays there. No one knows when Tuch plays. What's that?
What do you think of the return?
Well, that was the initial question to you. I mean, it's like, I think it's a grand slam. I think it's a grand slam because of Jack's neck injury. If Jack's Jack from a couple of years ago, where he had that unbelievable year where if the team was close to the playoffs or in the playoffs, he might have won the friggin' Hart Trophy. Okay. Like if he's that Jack, I'm sitting here saying, and this is no disrespect to Tuch and Krebs, I'm just saying that other pick would be a first, and there might even be another player in there. Okay. Right. So but with Jack in the condition that he's in, like, I don't know an analogy. I mean, I feel like you just bought a Ferrari and it's been in a serious accident and it needed a brand new engine, and it's still going to be a Ferrari. It's going to look like a Ferrari. It's going to move like a Ferrari, but it might have some traction issues. The engine might not be the same because you had to rebuild it. And I just think, are you going to have a 75% or 80% Ferrari in a Ferrari body? Or are you going to have the completely rebuilt Ferrari that you could put in a race tomorrow? I mean, sorry for the shitty analogy, guys, but I mean, Jack's a sports car on a team.
Only time will tell.
Are you trying to dissect that analogy?
I mean, no, it's. I understand the analogy. I mean, Jack is elite, and when he's healthy and he's ready to go, Vegas obviously is very. They're okay with him having this surgery. They feel very comfortable with him having the surgery, or they wouldn't have offered up what they offered up. And Kevin Adams, got to give him credit. Got to give him credit because he was patient. He wanted to stick to his guns. He knew how valuable Jack Eichel was and is to the future and the development of where this team is going. So he stuck to his guns, and he ended up getting, Alex Tuch. I think Alex Tuch is tremendous player. I mean, tremendous. The Buffalo Sabres fan base are going to be so pleased with this man when he steps into the lineup. And I know that he had surgery on his shoulder, and you're looking at 6, 7, 8 months to make sure that he comes back at full tilt. But Alex Tuch is a stud. He's a stud, not only on the ice, but he's a stud off the ice. And he's at a perfect age. And when I say perfect, he's still a young player in this league. He's 25 years old. He has got the best years of his NHL career ahead of him. And we've just acquired a first-line right winger that can skate and shoot as well as any first-line right winger in the league. He's 6'4", he's 220 pounds, and wait till you see this guy skate. We're going to be very pleased with what we've acquired, and we all know that we got the number one prospect from the Vegas Golden Knights, and that's Peyton Krebs, and kid's a stud. Kid's a very good hockey player. Not much of a goal scorer. He's more of a playmaker type. He's got insane amount of skill and hockey IQ. And he's only 20 years old. He's just a kid. So you look at when you start adding him to the high end talent level that Buffalo is starting to put together and acquire, it's there's a lot of good.
Well, he's the only piece that. Go ahead, Joe. You were going to say something. I was just going to say.
He's
the only piece we're going to see in the. Yeah, he's the only piece we're going to see that goes into that out of the deal that we see right away anyway, right? Like Jack's not playing, Tuch's not playing. I mean, Krebs is all eyes on Krebs, really.
No, Krebs is going to the minors.
Is that for sure?
Yeah. It was reported. He's reporting there.
I missed that. I was reading too many inboxes. All the news.
You're still going to see him in the sense that you're going to see what he can do there and how long they're going to want to be patient with him there. And my thing was, what do you think changed to make? What was the pressure point to make this deal now rather than before or after? So what changed to get this deal done and move this deal along, especially because two of your pieces aren't going to be in the lineup? So why does Vegas, what has changed on their end to make this deal happen? Why did they either come up to the asking price of Kevin and the Sabres, or wait, there's natural pressure points on all trades, right? And so this wasn't at the draft. This wasn't a free agent type thing. It wasn't a signing bonus coming up that we needed to change before that hit. So to me, what has changed to make this deal happen now in November, first week in November, rather than 4 months ago?
Probably that unbelievable deal that Calgary had.
It's in all honesty. So what is, where does that come from?
Apparently, so yesterday, as we record this on Thursday, yesterday, John Vogel tweeted out something about, like, it didn't have anything to do with grievance, but there was something, and I'm paraphrasing here, where the deal had to be done by Friday. Okay. Now, I don't know if it was a grievance. And Craig, I was about to tell you this too yesterday, but you were in the car with a bunch of kids. I'm like, the guy also told me, and you're like, I gotta go. I was like, okay, well then I guess I don't have anyone to share this with. But the person told me that I was talking to, that's something about Friday. They said, I guess the deal has to be done by Friday. But they weren't sure if it was because of grievance. I called John Vogel last night. We talked about this. And I said, it's amazing that you said this and that it's not grievance related, because I said, I heard the same thing, but I didn't make anything of it. I was like, what, by Friday? Was Jack putting heat on him? Or I don't know if Jack was going to get the surgery on his own, and that would have screwed up every deal that might have been on the table, or if it has something to do with the fact that the Olympic timetable, because you're in November, so you have November, what's today, the 4th?
He's no longer, you think.
Well, hold on. When are the Olympics? End of February?
Yeah.
Craig, how long's the recovery?
No, it's beginning of February, probably.
Okay. Even better. How long's the recovery?
You're looking at 3 months.
Do the math now while I wait.
3 months plus, yeah.
November, December, January, February. That is 3 months to the day. Tomorrow will be November 5th. Look up when the Olympics start. I don't start caring about the Olympics till the day after they start. So it's about. It has something to do.
I see where you're going, but there was heat.
I think Jack was going to have the surgery, so he's ready for the Olympics without the team's permission. It's like, you know what? Enough. And I think that's why the timetable is where it is, because Jack gets traded literally 3 months before the Olympics. He has 3 months for his neck to heal and get ready to go play in the Olympics, and then go back and play in Vegas for the playoffs.
If you're Vegas, are you letting your $50 million player test himself out after this surgery at the Olympics?
Sure. Minimal role. It's Olympic hockey. He's not
minimal role. You think Eichel's going to go and be a minimal role at the Olympics?
Well, you have to.
He will not go to the Olympics.
That's what I'm saying. If you're Vegas, what do you get out of letting him go to Vegas and try?
You don't think that's part of the deal? You don't think Brisson says part of this is Jack wants to be in the Olympics?
Oh,
February 4th to February 20th are the Olympics.
February 4th. First rounder, Krebs, Tuck, everything else under the sun, so Jack can play in the Olympics. Does that sound anything right?
Well, wait a minute. Yes, because wouldn't the insurance kick in? And if he got hurt, then it wouldn't be on Vegas's watch.
That's not the point. They gave up major pieces in their organization to acquire Jack.
If he's going to get hurt, he's going to get hurt. What are we talking about here? Like, he could get hurt his first day back on the ice. Why wouldn't you want him to go play against the best players in the world right away?
Because you're gonna rush him into that. So now you're using that as a date to be back by.
No, 6 weeks. 6 weeks was the date. 6 weeks was the date that he could be back doing physical activity. That gives him 6 weeks to get ready. That's the 3 month mark. So he's not ready to be active in 3 months. He's ready to be active in 6 weeks, with 6 weeks physical training, rehab, and all this stuff. And he's good to go.
Well, I think the question would be, what has he done for the last 8 months then? What has he been able to do for the last 8 months?
I'd love to get a body fat caliber on him.
Because he's not going to have a month and a half to get himself into the shape he needs to be.
No, but we all know this. Player. Hold on a sec. We all know this, and I never suffered any major injuries, but you guys may have had surgeries. Craig, I know you had a lot. Gio, I don't know. But we all know that if you're the healthier and the better shape that you're in going into surgery, the more likely you are to have a fast recovery. I knew guys that were scheduled for surgery in 2 weeks because they had to let the swelling go down, but they were still exercising and working out and doing all these things so that they weren't just letting their body fall apart, that those 2 weeks are still crucial all the way up to surgery. So Jack should have been not golfing and eating, he can still ride the bike. He can still lift weights, I'm sure, of some sort. Now, I don't know, but I have to imagine he can. I have a herniated disc right now in my neck, and I can do all those things. Okay. I'm not an elite athlete, but he already needs surgery. So all he has to do is work through the pain. He already knows he needs surgery. So he should be in amazing shape right now.
I don't know. That's why I say if he's not, that 6-week time frame to go from 0 to 100 is a lot of time to make up.
Well, that would be on him then, wouldn't it? Like if he's not,
it's on him or on what he's been able to do with his neck.
Craig, anything? You think he's been able to work out at all?
No, not to the ability that you're talking about. I know that he's working out, and I know that he's staying in shape, and I'm sure he's riding the bike, and I'm sure he's doing a lot of band work and things that would not put
rehab type stuff.
I'm certainly not suggesting that he's throwing 4 plates on the squat rack and banging out sets of 12 with back squats.
But he is nowhere near, even right now. Like he's probably nowhere near ready to play.
Well, then ask me what kind of conditioning I'm talking about. Can he not get on a bike and do airdyne sprints and wind sprints and all this stuff, keep his lungs and heart ready and his legs fresh and still?
You're doing that in a rehab setting, and then you're still think of when you come back from a summer. We all played. You still weren't. You had worked out as hard as you could with guys that worked out as hard as they could that pushed you, and when you came back, you still felt like crap. You still had to adjust.
That's what I'm talking about, right there.
And that's with months of hard workouts.
You're not in game shape. After you are doing wind sprints, you're on the bike, you're doing sprints on the treadmill, you're going to the track, you're lifting and putting 4 plates on there and squatting. You're doing everything.
That's like me saying I could go back and play right now because I work out 5 days a week, 4 or 5 days a week.
Screw you guys. You're just teaming up on me now to make me feel stupid. You know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying keep himself.
Someone's got to bring you down off your high horse today.
It's a high horse, man.
The NHL insider now.
My ego is through the friggin' roof right now with the amount of interview requests I'm getting. Anyways.
So the shape he's in is a moot point in the sense that there's no way if I'm Vegas, I'm letting him start at the Olympics and not with me.
Not in the slightest.
The chance they're already taking on this trade is huge, let alone doing something like that.
When Jack Eichel, when all the players go on their 10-day little hiatus to, Jamaica or the Bahamas, you know what Jack's going to be doing?
Going to Fiji?
He's going to be skating every day. I would not allow him to leave.
And I don't think they would, and I don't think he would want to. I think he's going to be at that point that he's going to want to step in after the Olympic break.
Okay, I want to make a bet. I want to make a bet with you guys. I'm going to say that he is going to play in the Olympics. I think this whole thing is about the Olympics, the timing of it.
Cup run or Olympics, what are you choosing?
That's not what I'm talking.
That's for you, Petey. That's not for me.
But that's he's got a legit chance with Vegas, a legit team. And
does USA,
I just don't think the Olympics are.
The United States have a legitimate chance at gold medal, Brian Gionta?
Yes.
American, who was captain of the last Olympic team, by the way.
Yes.
Okay.
I posed the question, and no one would know except Jack. But
and you don't think that means something to Jack Eichel to go there? And maybe
it does.
Canada. I mean, this whole thing has been about Jack. What makes you think he's not going to continue to try to make it about Jack?
Listen, I think at the end of the day, the pressure point might have been that he was going to go and have his surgery. I don't know if it was because of the Olympics.
So maybe he had the ultimatum put in front of him. Trade, surgery. You play for Vegas, no Olympics. Maybe there is an ultimatum there.
Yeah, interesting.
It's interesting. Well, Craig, why are you so quiet over there? I mean, I feel like do you think I'm asking a question that's illegitimate?
I think you're taking your hard stance on this. I'm trying to figure right now if you actually believe the shit that's coming out of your mouth, that you have got a guy that's been off for ultimately a year, that's been in the biggest fight with his NHL team possibly in history. He finally gets traded. 3 months later, he's pushing to go to the Olympics. Think about it. This is not a knee. It's not a wrist. It's not a shoulder. It's a neck. And I don't think the Vegas Golden Knights, after giving up a lion's share of talent, is going to allow a guy who's not played in a year, who just came off neck surgery, to go to the Olympics.
Okay. Well, then I guess we'll bury that conversation. I feel like it's different, but we don't have to continue on about that. Craig, you wanted to talk about how the old era, or the old guard, if you will, of the Sabres is gone. Risto, Jack, Sam, now gone. But you also wanted to talk about the amount of assets the Sabres have acquired in the offseason with the Risto, Sam, Eichel deal.
Yeah, I mean, the old era of Jack Eichel, Sam Reinhart, and Rasmus Ristolainen is over. There were some great players. It did not work out here, and I don't necessarily just blame those players. I'll tell you that right now. I think it was poorly managed. I think that they didn't surround those players with the proper players to make them move forward and succeed. And they're all three are very, very strong players, but it's a new era. It's a new era for the Buffalo Sabres. Kevin Adams acquired and I think did a really nice job, picking up an incredible young goaltender in Devin Levi, who currently right now is playing D1 for, I think, Northeastern, playing very, very well. Picked up Robert Hagg, which is, he's a 5th, 6th defenseman in the National Hockey League. Solid. Alex Tuck is a first-line right winger, and he is going to be a stud. There's no question about it. And Peyton Krebs is that centerman that we wanted in this deal. We wanted an elite young talent. We wanted another team's number one prospect, and we ended up getting it. And Peyton Krebs has great upside. We don't know where he's going to go. We just know that, through junior hockey, through the World Juniors, he has been an extremely high-end player for a number of years now. So someone that
his
we're really going to
stats,
keep an eye on.
His stats in junior are ridiculous. Assist heavy.
He's more of a playmaker, right? He is not a goal scorer. I don't think he's a goal scorer. He's more of a playmaker. He's got insane hockey skills and hockey IQ and dynamic ability, but he's more of a setup man.
If he were in college, Gio, he definitely would have been a Hobie candidate.
Well, to be honest, that was a question that I wanted to raise is, what do those junior numbers mean as far as translation? Because let's face it,
they don't mean anything.
I'm sure your numbers were extremely high in junior too.
No, mine weren't.
All right. Well, what I mean, but
no, but there's some guys that have had ridiculously high numbers that literally did not amount to shit. Like I played with a guy, and he had hundreds of points in junior. I think he played 25 games in the NHL and had 2 goals. Played 25 games in the NHL. He made it, but he didn't get to where.
Not the expectation to what you would have expected based off the points. And I say that
100%.
College as well. The translation it has to be made. You can point to a lot of different things, right? Like Cole Caulfield coming out hot last year and now cooling off a bit. Transitioning to pro hockey is extremely hard. So a lot of these pieces are still unknown. I do like the fact that there has been a complete overhaul, and you listen to Kevin Adams talk in the press conference. He didn't bite on the why it didn't work, whether it's with Jack, Risto, or Sam. He didn't bite on that. He was wanting to move forward at this point. Forget about the past. There's lots of blame to be had, whether it's players, management, whatnot. But he didn't go into that. He wants to move forward, and he wants to move forward with guys that want to be here. That's the message that I got out of that, is that he's not taking that bait. He's moving on. The past is the past. It's been very documented how bad it's been, but he's not into that. He's into trying to find solutions, and in that, he's making the moves. Whether the moves are right or not, whether they pan out or not, he's making the moves in the moment that he sees fit to help this team move forward. And
that question's asked
on with those guys.
That question's asked to paint Kevin into a spot where, you know, he looks like he wants to avoid an answer, but it's an irrelevant question in a press conference like that. Like, who's going to sit and then, you know, piss on the grave after, you know, the deal's like, you know what I mean? Like, why would any executive at a high level do that? What's that?
I do believe that there's a lot of GMs that would have answered that question. And I think that Kevin Adams, yes, I do. Really? I think that Kevin Adams is focused. There is no question that he has a focus, and he does not want to talk about Sam Reinhart or Rasmus Ristolainen or Jack Eichel and why things didn't happen and why they have done more and they have done this. Why? He is about what he has in front of him. He is about the team that he has in front of him and trying to develop and make these guys better. He is going to implement, a system that is going to resonate through the entire organization and how they do things. And I think that he answered it very well. And he didn't answer it. He is about the guys that are here now.
And I think Granato has done that on the ground for him, right? Like, Granato has been a guy that has changed the mindset of who's still around, and wanting to be here and wanting a different thing and not worrying about who they don't have, who they've lost, or who they've gotten rid of. He hasn't talked about that at all. He hasn't wanted to talk about Jack. He hasn't wanted to talk about the departures.
Because there's nothing good to say. There's nothing good to say because I've never heard anything good about Jack.
But if I'm the player, if I'm a player in that dressing room, that's what I want to hear from my coach, is that I don't care what is not in the room. I care what's in the room. Yeah. Because he's giving those guys, very inexperienced, super talented guys, the confidence to just go out there and play and learn and develop and do their thing without having to worry about all the other stuff. That's the point I was making.
For such a popular player on the ice, and I don't want to turn this into a Jack Eichel bashing moment, but, and it won't be, because I have a lot of respect for him, and I can't imagine the amount of pressure he had to endure when he was here. Would have driven me nuts. But just what I've heard about how he was communicating with his fellow teammates. I feel like for such a big star, there should have been more opportunity or more reputation of a guy who's loved as well as, other than just being loved for how talented he is. I mean, and that's all I'll say about that, because there have been tons of speculation about, players tiptoeing around Jack. He doesn't talk to other players. He only talks to certain players. He makes the environment in a room very uncomfortable. I'm not telling you guys anything that you haven't heard. I'm just telling you what I've heard. And there are lots of guys that have been like that in the past. I mean, but they don't last long because normally they're not the stars. They're not the stars. They're not the captains, right? They're not your franchise players, and if they are, they aren't put in the spotlight like Jack was.
Jack ever a captain? I feel bad for Jack. I feel bad that he even got put in that situation to wear a C on his jersey. And I just don't believe that he had a lot of pressures. He had a tremendous amount of pressure here in Buffalo. It was a team that was not trending in the right direction. The team had made disastrous trades. They were flipping Band-Aids on the roster, every single year. Jack got more and more frustrated. it just became an environment where, it was sinking, and it was not a good environment to be in. And listen, I mean, we can sit here and talk about, this today, but there's going to be a point in time when we're going to take a deep breath in the next couple of days where we're not going to have to talk about this anymore. And the people, the fans of the Buffalo Sabres are going to be able to exhale, because there's been a lot happen to this team in the last little while. It has not been a good hockey team for a number of years. They've been picking first overall or in a top 5 position for a number of years. They want some relief. They want to see this team develop and become a very competitive team. And I do believe that when we spoke about, Owen Power getting drafted number 1 overall, and we had spoke at length about this, that we think it's best. And this is just me as a professional or a former professional NHL defenseman. I just look at that young man and think he is going to be a really, really good defenseman, but he does not need to play here in this environment yet. Let him develop at another level, get all of the ice time, learn those leadership qualities at a different level, learn tough games at a different level, play the lion's share of the tough minutes at a different level, and then bring that here to Buffalo. And I think that I think that the Buffalo Sabres have nailed it. You got Owen Power staying in Michigan. You've got a JJ Peterka that has the ability to play in the National Hockey League, probably now with his skill set, but he's playing in the American Hockey League. Jack Quinn scored a 6th goal in 8 or 9 games. He is on fire, and he's gaining and learning how to be a professional, maybe not at the NHL level, but he's right there, and he's learning that it's tough. He's learning the travel. He's learning how to live on his own for the first time, and all these little things that make you a player in the highest league. And the news coming out today about Peyton Krebs. Peyton Krebs is going to the minors. It was probably one of the most eyebrow-raising thing of all. And guess what? It's exactly where he should be. Go and dominate at that level. Go and work at that level.
Yeah, he has 5 assists in 2 games. He has 13 games in the NHL, 1 assist. 9 games this year, 1 assist. I mean, look, Sam Reinhart had similar stats. His first year in the NHL, I mean, he was 18, but he played 9 games. He had the 1 assist.
He had a bad line mate.
Whoa, his first assist came. He was on a line with Cody McCormick. What are you talking about?
And me.
Was it you and Cody McCormick and Sam Reinhart?
That was the 3 of us for his what he played 9 games or whatever before he went back to junior.
Gio, I am not even going to blow smoke when I say this. When you were here, you went on a streak there where you started to score some goals. I used to tweet all the time, give Gio more ice time. Give him more ice time.
Listen, and I won't go there, but so Reinhart was extremely young, 18 years old, and Cody Hodgson was also on his downtrend at the time. So that was my introduction to Buffalo, and so I'll transition it into what I went through as far as college and pro. You need that time to be that guy. You're going to be that guy in Rochester. Those guys are going to be looked at and put in positions to develop as far as playing the right minutes, playing the right situations. I stayed in college for 4 years. It was a much different time back then, but that allowed me to go through the process of sophomore, junior, senior year of taking on more of a leadership role, I was power play, I was penalty kill all 4 years. But I had to learn the off-ice stuff, the bringing teammates in, the inclusion of everyone, the management of teammates, like all the stuff that goes into it, Rivs, and Petey, too, away from the rink, not just on the ice. There's a lot you need to learn. And those guys,
The guys that
whether
last
you
longer,
stay in college or you go
longest,
to the minors, those are the things that help you along the way. Is those little things. I started in New Jersey and I went to the River Rats. It's you need. It was Lou. It was part of his mindset is that you
need a
needed
humbling
to want.
experience.
Yeah, you humble. Hey, this is I was good enough. I could have made that team out of camp, but you're gonna go down and you're gonna play and you're gonna be hungry for when you get back up here. That it's not a given to be here.
Which Gionta scored 3 goals in their first American League game? Was that you?
My brother. No, my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hat trick in his first game, right? With Albany, wasn't he with Albany?
Yeah,
I remember being in the league.
I don't remember if it was Albany or Lowell at the time. I think it was Albany. But
I remember I was in the American League, I think, when that happened. Well, it's interesting that you say that, all of that. You know, you were with Riv. You were actually about to say something, and I commented on which Gionta scored 3 goals. You probably don't remember anyway, do you?
I don't.
Yeah, no, I know you don't. The hell was I just about to say, Gio? It was right off of something that you were literally just talking about. It's great that this is.
What I will say is this: that you know, as much as, and I love how the Sabres started their season this year. They won a few games, feel good, put things in perspective. I did say that, you know, listen, the bubble's going to burst here a little bit. They're very young. They're very immature, and they need to win and lose and win and lose to become a team that's going to win more games than you lose. And it's through development. And there's some young players right now that are playing very well, that are getting better. There's some players that continue that they need to improve their game. Okay. And this is going to be an up and down season for the Sabres. It's not going to be an easy one. But I will say this, that every year beyond this point in time, you are going to see a different Sabres hockey team. I think it's going to be better because the players and the prospects that we have in the system here are really good players. And the Sabres are going to be a good team. They just need to be patient. They need to develop the right star players. And on top of that, Kevin Adams needs to continue to improve the roster around those young players.
And that will happen naturally. That will happen as things go along, and you see how these kids develop and what they can develop into, what type of player they will be, and then it figures out the holes that you need to fill along the way.
Well, I'll say this as we wind down our time here. The reason why I'm sitting here puzzled is I can't remember what the hell it was I was trying to ask you, Gio. I thought it was an Emmy Award-winning question.
My bad.
I say that, you know, as a little plug to myself. You know, not only broke the Eichel trade this week, also you know, won an Emmy this week as a member of that Ray Domi feature that the Sabres put out a couple years ago. So we won an Emmy for that. But that's not even what I'm most excited about this week, guys. That's like, I'd say Emmy number 2, Eichel trade number 3, number 1 hasn't even happened yet, and it's already in the books. Do you know what it is? What could top the week I've had? Other than the fact that I have to pay for something today, and it's going to put Craig Rivet in a position where he's going to owe me $900, which is wonderful. That he's going to have to owe me money. but let's put that aside for a sec. What could it be?
You tell me.
Brent Sopel is going to join the show tomorrow with the 3 of us. Brent Sopel is meeting with the NHL today, Gary Bettman, and he's obviously been, you know, for Kyle Beach, Brent Sopel's a hero. So is Nick Boynton. They were the first 2, along with Vincent. Is it Paul Vincent? Yes. Paul Vincent, to come forward and talk about Kyle Beach's story and say that players knew, and they took a big risk by doing it. And he's agreed to join us. And Gio, when I messaged him, I said, and I know him a little bit. I don't know him well, but I know him a little bit. And I know when I hung out with him, he is one of the I don't even know him. And if none of this ever happened and I wish it didn't with the Chicago thing, and some random person said, hey, do you know Brent Sopel? I would smile and say, I never played with Brent Sopel, but I love Brent Sopel. Okay. He's one of the greatest guys you'll ever come across. And I have no idea where I met him. It was either at NHLPA meetings or at some charity events that we had done along the way. And I can't remember. And I can't wait to ask him, because every time we got together, we had an unbelievable time. Okay. And Gio, you probably know why, because you play with him. But when I asked him if he would come on, I said, we're doing this. I said, Gio's going to be on with us Friday. He said, love Gio and would love to have Gio on with us when we did it. And so he brought you up right away when we mentioned it.
So he's the reason I get 2 spots this week is because of Soaps.
No,
we bring on a former teammate, and then I'm not quite sure.
Because you're trying to be trying to be a dick right now. But no,
I like that he wants me to be on, and I like that. Maybe I feel like I'm being used because he's a former teammate of mine, and you're using me.
No. I actually scheduled him for Friday so that he could be on with you. I said, what day works? He goes, Friday. I go, great, Gio's on. That's actually how it really happened.
And then you had to text me and be like, Gio, can you do Friday?
I tried to paint you up to be this, larger than life figure, metaphorically speaking.
Yes. But that was also before your big breaking news this morning too. So now you are the, one we have to take down a peg or two.
Your special 2-week segment is because of the Eichel trade. That's why.
All right.
So in reality, Sopel's had a busy week, and it just worked really well on Friday. So it really had nothing to do with you. I was just trying to make it sound like it was a little better than it was. No, it's good. No, he did. He said Friday would work. I'd love to chat with Gio. It's exactly what he said. So
it's amazing how big your head is right now. Gio, do you know Petey?
Oh yeah.
What?
Why? Incredible. There's a big difference in your attitude and just the way. Look at you smiling.
Because you're so full of shit. I have no idea what you're talking about.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
So you want to beside that mask, is there going to be like your little Emmy now?
Yes.
Like when does that come in?
I will throw an Emmy there.
Do you get something in recognition of being the new insider too? Like, do you get like a little
lightning bolt patch that I get to put on my
little plaque that you get to put up there too that say you broke the biggest trade in 10 years?
It's a sticker and it goes right here. And it's like captain's wings when you're a pilot. You get like a little something. It's I don't know what
self-pride type thing.
No, but in reality, Gio, here's what happened. Okay, so I called Craig today and I told him, I'm like, listen, you're never gonna believe this. But I think I broke the Eichel trade. And he's like, what do you mean? So then we hang up and then we talk a little bit later. and he picks up the phone. He goes, Petey, I cannot believe that we broke the Eichel trade.
All of a sudden he threw the we out there. He was still snoozing away.
Hey, so quickly. I guess I just
That is so not true. It is unbelievable. Wrap this up.
I swear to God, that's true. Brent Sopel tomorrow. Thank you to everybody for listening to After the Whistle. It's been a great show. A lot of fun. That's a wrap on another episode of After the Whistle. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, After the Whistle, and at Craig Rivet 52, at the Instigator 76. And you can find us, as you already know, on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, and anywhere else where you can get your podcasts. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to spread the word.